Sarah is with me on the line today. Sarah, you travelled to Turkey for a tummy tuck and breast augmentation after weight loss, but I think it's an understatement to say that things didn't go to plan. When did you travel for the surgery?
So I travelled in February this year, and I flew out to Antalya. I think it was the 17th of February this year.
And how long were you due to stay in Turkey for the surgery and recovery?
Well, I was supposed to be there 12 days, but because I wouldn't do a review for the clinic and the surgeon, they wouldn't release me home for 28 days.
Okay, so you knew going out you were going to be there for 12 days anyway, at least.
Yeah.
And you were getting pretty life-changing procedures.
Yeah, so I was supposed to have a FDL tummy tuck, extended tummy tuck, and a breast lift and augmentation. And then I was supposed to wait 6 months for more surgery. But while I was down surgery, he done all my surgeries at once.
And had that been the initial plan?
No, that wasn't the initial plan. I was supposed to wait 6 months and have my sides and my arms done. But when I was down surgery, he done my back, which was never mentioned. And he done my arms, my sides, and a breast augmentation, breast lift and a tummy tuck. And he left me in a complete and utter mess.
Just explain to listeners, Sarah, what you're dealing with now, like nearly 7-8 months on from the procedures.
Yeah, so I've got complex PTSD from what happened to me because they operated on me while I was awake and they held me down. So I have got complex PTSD from that because I felt everything and, it was horrific. And then I've also got 2 large holes in my stomach. I've lost my breasts. I've only got part of one breast left. I can't lift my arms above my head properly and I suffer with extreme pain. Because of the scars. He cut through my lymph nodes, he cut through my armpits, he cut through everything he could. I'm like a jigsaw puzzle.
And when you like in the aftermath of the days after you had the surgery, Sarah, what was your reaction when you looked down and saw?
As soon as I woke up, I knew something was wrong, and I begged and begged to see the surgeon, and he had gone home. So as soon as I woke up, I couldn't breathe, and they were telling me it was normal, but I knew for a fact it wasn't normal. And then I was only supposed to have 8 drains. I had like 14 drains fitted. There was just drains everywhere. I remember looking to my left-hand side, and there was blood attached to me. And then I found out that I'd lost 6.5 pints of blood. I was only supposed to be down surgery 8 hours, and I was actually down surgery 13.5 hours. He turned me during the procedure, which you're not supposed to do. And then I remember looking down, and I had a big mass in the middle of my chest that looked like a third breast, basically. And he was telling me it was swelling, but all along it was fat that he'd left behind. And that pushed in on my FDL scar, and it popped my stomach open because he took too much skin, so I couldn't expand my lungs. And it also messed my breast up, and that turned black.
Sarah, I've seen some of the photographs that you sent to us. When were they taken?
So all along the journey. So from the start, all the way. So the breast ones are just after the ones I sent you. The breast, they're just after, and then the other ones are when the NHS saved my life, basically.
I know you'd sent us on some photographs that we were going to post online, but I actually think they're, if you don't mind me saying, Sarah, I nearly think they're too graphic to share to people.
But people need to see the real what actually happens out there. Because they sell it.
I really could not believe what I was looking at today. Like when you talk about there's now holes in your stomach, you're not exaggerating. There's literally holes in your stomach.
Yeah, you could literally see my insides. Because where he'd taken too much skin, they basically left me. They rushed me out to the hospital. They because they don't like pay in for too many days in the hospital. They rushed me out to the hospital and rushed me to a hotel. And I was promised a 24-hour translator. I didn't have any of that. They rushed me through the paperwork. They were telling me that I'd have to pay another £2,000. Do you mean it was as soon as you hand the money over, it changes. It's all upselling. That's all they do is try and sell. They made me feel so worthless about my body that I thought I needed all these different things, and I didn't. I didn't need it. You mean? But that's how they know how to sell. That's how they sell to you.
Why did you pick Turkey in the first place, Sarah? Did you know?
Yeah, so previously I'd had a gastric sleeve, and that went well. I lost 12 stone. Do you mean due to health reasons? I put on extensive amount of weight. So during COVID, I was put on steroids for nearly 2 years, and I piled the weight on, and I needed emergency hysterectomy. And I was put on the waiting list for a gastric sleeve, but I couldn't wait any longer. I was in severe pain, and I just needed to lose the weight so I could get the emergency hysterectomy. I was very young having a hysterectomy. But I had stage 5 endometriosis and I needed it badly. So, I used Turkey for a gastric sleeve and everything went fine. So I researched. I didn't just fly out there.
I know.
I researched for like 17 months. I flew out a year before my surgery and met 8 surgeons. I went to 8 hospitals, clinics. I proper looked into it, like all the reviews, the certificates, the photos, and it's all fake. It's all fake. Like all my, obviously I'm not allowed to say the name, but all my surgeons, reviews and everything were all fake. They're not even real reviews. And they make you believe that, they put you in such a false sense of, security. They make you believe that they're your best friends and they really care about you, but they really, really don't.
And you'd had, obviously, the previous surgery. That was in the same place, was it, Sarah?
No, it wasn't. It was that was a different part of Turkey.
Okay.
Yeah,
but you'd had surgery abroad and it had gone well, so you were happy enough to go back. How much, can I ask, like you obviously had paid up front then, had you, for the...
Yeah, so I paid for all the surgery, but even though I was supposed to be going back in 6 months, I paid it in advance because I thought, but he wasn't cheap. He was £15,000. I mean, that's still that's expensive for Turkey, and I went with the most expensive, but over in the UK it's £32,000. And I couldn't afford that, but I also couldn't live with my skin getting, because I had so much excess skin. I couldn't do what I thought I could do. Like my stomach was cutting open. I was having boils. My skin was bleeding. It was rubbing. It was so painful, with the excess skin. I just couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. So that's why I went for the skin surgery.
Sarah, I have to say, I really, really feel for you when I saw the photographs today and what you're dealing with. I'm just hoping that, like, the company that I use are actually over here at the minute doing UK tours. And like, I've contacted everybody I can, MPs, immigration, all the venues, like the GMD. They're not registered to do consultations, but they're coming over here on the fact that they're doing teeth dental procedures. But they have just been caught by I'm not allowed to say it, but a well-known. But did you have you been able to get in contact with the place that you had your surgery?
Yeah, I've got a lawsuit against them.
Okay.
So the lawsuit is being heard in Turkey in January.
Okay, it's been heard in Turkey in January. Okay, did you mentioned you've had some though treatment since with the NHS? Is that right?
Yeah, they had to save my life. I was 3 days away from dying, they reckon, because where they operated on me when I was awake and they held me down. It was in a Botox clinic, he'd done it. And they used dirty tools on me. So I picked up a thing called MDRO, which is a multi-drug resistant organism, and that basically eats away your flesh. So when they forged the fit to fly, even though they weren't supposed to, and I was let home after 28 days, only because I said I was going to go to the embassy. And when I got home, I was dying. I was basically dying.
And the NHS obviously, told you this in terms of the different things that you'd contracted afterwards, Sarah. Are you there? Can you hear me, Sarah? No, if we lost Sarah, just bear with us for one moment. I think this might be an issue with the line. We just want to get Sarah back up on the line. She's absolutely not exaggerating when she talks about the different injuries that she's, or the extent of the damage that she's suffering. Sarah's back on the line. Sarah, you went to the NHS. They've been able to do some procedures since. How have they gone for you?
So they were able to save my life. They cut away all the dead because my body was rotting basically. So I had necrosis, really really bad necrosis and MDRO. So I was in total isolation for like 8 weeks in hospital. I wasn't allowed to see my family or my children or nothing. And fair dues to them that they saved my life. They've been amazing. I'm working with them now. They're sharing my story to try stop and trying to get the government to put something in place. To stop the advertising and to stop, allowing them over here to get more victims, basically. But it's going to cost me about £28,000 to have my breasts fixed.
That's through the NHS.
No, that's not through the NHS. That's my cost. I'll have to pay that.
You'll have to pay that.
So that's going to cost me around £28,000 to have that because he's taken too much skin because he fitted implants that were too big for the skin that he left behind, and my breast exploded basically. My nipple died and my nipple fell off. So that's going to cost me about £28,000, but the NHS are going to close my stomach because of their pain,
Well, I was just going to. You must be in an incredible amount of pain still.
Yeah, I take morphine daily. I take I'm on a lot of mental health medication because after I got released from the NHS hospital, I actually went into total psychosis and I was sectioned because my body was in so much trauma and my mind was in so much trauma that the only way they could do it was by sectioning me because I didn't know who I was. I didn't even know my children's names. I was really, really poorly mentally. But I'm just using this now to try and advocate and to try and help and stop other people from, going through what I went through, because it's all a pack of lies. What they say to you, they make it out that, it's a holiday, it's a health holiday. It's nothing like that. They show you pictures of, people sat by the pool sipping cocktails after having breast augmentation. It's not true. It's really not true. And people need to, realise this. And
I know people. No, go on ahead.
I'm hoping the government stops them allowing them to advertise, because it's costing the NHS so much money. It is like they saved my life, and like I understand I use the NHS, but like the NHS are like they have even said to me, we're using your story now to try and stop it from happening from others. And I'm hoping the government will go out to Turkey now and speak to the government over there. But I won't stop until something's done.
And I know that's the message that you wanted to deliver to people today, and in sharing your story. And I know other people listening to this will get in touch now and say that they've travelled to Turkey and other places, and they've had successful outcomes. And you too yourself, Sarah, previously had a positive outcome. But I suppose it's about highlighting to people, really, isn't it, to be aware of.
Like they say for you to get insurance, and I got a really, really big insurance out. I did, and they wouldn't even help me. So it doesn't matter about insurance, to pay the NHS and everything, because they don't even help. Even when things go wrong over in Turkey, they wouldn't even help or pay for anything. So like it's all in the small writing. So even if you think you're safe and you go over there and you get insurance to cover you, that doesn't even work. So people need to realise that too. It's all a big conspiracy with the insurance companies and Turkey also.
Okay. Look, you've had an absolutely, Sarah, it is absolutely horrendous what you've gone through, and I'm sure for you heading into Christmas and your kids, and you got this done in February, like I'm sure it must feel like a nightmare for you.
Well, that's what I suffer with, complete and utter nightmares. I don't sleep. I literally have 3 hours, maybe 2 to 3 hours a night, because I have night terrors because of the PTSD. Every night I relive him killing me, the surgeon, every night. And I struggle, like, you want about nightmares. I really, really struggle. That's the main thing with me, is nightmares. And they're so real. But people are more than welcome to go on my Instagram. It's Sarah Gets Sleep 21.
And they can and see they'll be able to see the photographs there. I know, because people are asking us here, about the photographs. But I have to. I have spoken to many people on the show in the last couple of years who've had difficulties and complications from surgery abroad, but they really, really are absolutely shocking. And Sarah's not in any way downplaying what she's gone through from the photographs that certainly I've seen that she sent on to us today. Sarah, listen, mind yourself and take care, and I hope the rest of your recovery surgery goes well, and thank you for joining us today on the programme.
I really appreciate you having me on, guys.
Not at all.
All right.
Take care. Mind yourself. Yeah, I mean, people wondering about why don't we have a national, campaign to make people aware of the risks. Well, Sarah's talking about, dealing with that at the moment in the UK and the situation there and the national campaign that they are looking at. I don't know. Do we need one in Ireland as well? I mean, we've talked to surgeons before who constantly highlight what it's like dealing with patients when they come home from getting surgery abroad. Maybe it is time. I don't know.